This is a strange and terrifying story that happened in Sudan in 2010 during the days of Eid al-Fitr, specifically in a village located in the western part of the country. There was a shepherd walking with his flock near a well close to the village. This well had a reputation among the villagers for being haunted by jinn and demons. As soon as the shepherd approached the well, he heard unnatural screams and cries coming from it. Despite his intense fear and horror, he slowly approached the well and peeked inside, calling out, "Are you human or jinn?" He repeated the question, "Human or jinn?" After a short while, he received a response. The look of terror and shock on his face was unmistakable as he ran back to the village, appearing as if he had heard the most frightening thing in his life. This story is one of the most bizarre and true terrifying incidents that occurred in Sudan. If it's not the story of al-Shawa'al, the terrifying incident in Sudan, this is precisely what we will uncover in today's episode. So, follow along to learn the full details. If this is your first time watching my channel and you are interested in mystery, horror, and crime content, this is what we offer weekly. Don't forget to subscribe and join our family to see our content regularly. Let's start our story. Greetings, legends, and welcome. Today, our story comes from Sudan. But a quick note, those asking about the sources of these stories, all these stories are true and have sources, though none are in English. I will list them in the description if you want to check the official sources. Without further ado, let's begin our story. In the village of Sodiri in the northern state of Sudan, a Sudanese girl named Ria lived with her father and half-siblings after her mother's death and her father's remarriage. Despite her young age of 14, Ria helped her father a lot, particularly with tending the sheep, a primary occupation for the people of Sodiri and most villages in that region. One ordinary day, Ria went out in the morning, took the sheep she was tending, and wandered through various parts of the village until the end of the day. As evening approached, Ria started to check and count the sheep to ensure they were all there before heading back home as she did every day. However, this time, she was surprised to find that 4 sheep were missing. This meant they were lost. Worried about her strict and harsh father's reaction, Ria decided not to return home until she found the missing sheep. She began searching everywhere she had been with the sheep earlier and spent hours looking for them but found nothing. The child lost hope of finding the sheep and had to take the remaining sheep and return home before nightfall, fearing that she might lose more sheep if she continued searching until late. Indeed, Ria returned home with the sheep she had, and as soon as she entered, her father noticed that her face had changed. She immediately and innocently confessed to him what had happened. She said that she had lost some sheep and had tried to find them but couldn't. Here, her father's reaction was unexpected and shocking. He went and got a stick and began beating the child savagely and crazily all over her body. He continued to beat her until he finally offered her a solution to forgive her. This solution was a devilish one. Ria's father was known to be involved in sorcery and witchcraft, constantly performing magical rituals to increase his wealth, according to his belief. When he suddenly lost the 4 sheep, he believed that his magical practices were no longer effective as before, so he felt compelled to follow the orders of the sorcerers to offer a sacrifice to the demons to restore his wealth. And who would be the sacrifice? You probably guessed it. He decided at that moment to sacrifice Ria and offer her as a sacrifice to the demons. The shock came when he gave the child Ria 2 choices. Either he would end her life immediately, killing her with a sharp object or something, or he would throw her into a well alive, leaving her to die inside it. After hearing her father's plan, Ria experienced moments of terror. She knew her father well and knew that he would kill her no matter what choice she made. She thought for a while about her inevitable fate and finally asked him to throw her into the well, hoping that the well might be more merciful than her father. At that moment, her father, blinded by the thoughts of magic that had completely taken over his mind, agreed to her choice. He took her by the hand and led her to the nearest abandoned well in their area, making sure it was deserted so no one would come near it. The well turned out to be the same scary one that had many terrifying stories associated with it and was known in their region to be haunted by jinn and demons. The child was crying and begging her father to spare her, and let her live, but to no avail. He stood her at the edge of the well and then threw her in without any mercy, leaving her there and returning home. The girl fell 38 meters into the well, screaming in fear and darkness, hoping someone would hear her and rescue her. But at that time, the only person who could hear her was her father, who felt no remorse and left her there. After 40 days, a child was herding his sheep near the well, and as he passed by, he heard screaming coming from it. He leaned his head towards the well and looked inside, calling out, "Are you human or jinn?" Moments later, he received a response from inside the well. The voice said, "I am Ria," and between cries and pleas, it asked for his help to get her out of the well. The boy ran to the villagers and told them that he heard a voice from inside the well, and it was certainly not the voice of a jinn. The villagers felt that the boy's words could be true, so they went with him to the well. When they arrived, they heard the same voice and agreed to tie their turbans together to make a long rope. In Sudan, a turban is a piece of cloth wrapped around the head. After tying their turbans, they created a long rope. They tied the rope to a man named Abdul Khair, who volunteered to descend to the bottom of the well to confirm the source of the voice. The man began to descend into the well, and as he approached the bottom, he found the girl. Her features, face, and hair were covered in mud, and around her were scorpions, snakes, and thorns. Miraculously, she had survived. The man asked the villagers to lower the rope further so he could tie it around the girl and pull her out. When he began to lift her, he discovered that her hair was stuck to the well's wall due to the mud. He had to cut her braids with a knife he had with him to free her. He then tied her to the rope and they started to pull her up. When she finally emerged from the well, the villagers were shocked to realize that the girl was Ria, the missing child. At that moment, they described her appearance as resembling a skeleton. They immediately transferred her to the Sodiri Al-Abiad hospital, where they found a large number of scorpions in her hair and began to remove them until she arrived at the hospital and received treatment. When her father found out, he pretended to be unaware of the incident. However, when the security forces arrived at the hospital, they asked the child what had brought her to the well, and she told them that her father had thrown her in. They immediately arrested him and interrogated him, but he completely denied it, claiming that she must have been playing around the well and accidentally fell in. His lie did not hold up after the police questioned the villagers, who told them that her father had been involved in witchcraft for a long time and had done this to offer her as a sacrifice to the demons. The penultimate shock came when the girl, Ria, recovered, and the police asked her what she wanted them to do with her father. Despite everything he had done to her, she completely refused to have her father punished. Despite her suffering, she said she wanted him to return to his wife and children and live with them. Thus, the villagers named her al-Shawel, which means the strong woman in Sudanese tradition. But how did she survive 40 days without food or water in the well? I know you're curious about this, so let me tell you the shocking truth in her own words. When the villagers asked the girl how she survived, her answer was shocking, and here is the final surprise in the video. When asked what she ate, she replied, "Milk." When asked where she got the milk, she said that a person she didn't know, with white skin, wearing all white and glowing, would come to her every day and give her milk with salt to drink. This person never spoke to her except once, the day before she was rescued, when he told her that it was her last day in the well. Was this person human or jinn?